Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi The Joker version 1.5. I never reviewed the 1.0, so I don't know the exact differences. I'm guessing it's just slight refinement and probably tolerances and things like that, and then accessories. That's what it was for Deadpool. And this is only a 1.5. I think Deadpool was like 2.5. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know the first Joker. I'm reviewing this one. Take that and do what you will with it. I can't review one I don't have. So I've been sitting on this guy for a while, but at least a few of you have been basically hounding me to get the review done. So here it is. I've done it for you. You are welcome. This is a pretty cool figure. It is a Revoltech figure, so if you don't like Revoltech, it's probably not going to be for you, but maybe it is. This one might be able to win you over if you're looking for a fun Joker figure. Maybe, but maybe not. You can see on the back right there, it may not. So let's go ahead and get this guy off the stand and take a closer look. All right, before we look at the figure, let's take a quick look at my package. It's the new modern packaging, gray and drab. I know some people like that. I prefer windows and figures showing, not just a photo and a bunch of gray, but it is what it is. The photos are nice on the side and back, so that's pretty good. That side's pretty good too, I guess. The top, not so much, and the bottom, not so much. It's fine. If you're into packaging, you may not care for it, unless you really like the plain old gray. Alright, I have this guy a little bit bright. Is it going to be okay? Let's see. I think it'll be okay if we keep him this bright, because the purple's a little bit dark. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into it. This guy stands in a relatively neutral stance, about 17 centimeters to the top of the hair. That's going to be just about 6 and, let's say, it's pretty close to 6 3/4. Here he is up against Darwin. He has some height to him. You could definitely mix this guy in with your 1/12 scale collection. This guy is in stock. Last time I looked, it goes in and out though at Big Bad Toy Store. I'll put a link in the description below if you want to get one by the end of the review. Then you could use that link, and that would be nice. Question of the day: have you been won over by Revoltech? Or have you always hated them, or have you always liked them? You don't have to have hated them, but you know what I mean. Did you like them? Did you not like them? Have you been won over? Have you not? What's the deal? I've been won over, but not because they did something strange. They just made their figures better quality. They used to be way cut up more than they needed to be. They've gotten better at that, and they've gotten better at painting and everything else. The finish has been a lot nicer on a lot more of the modern figures, so I like them more than I used to. So there you go. Alright, so this Joker, it's like your classic Joker. He's obviously a little bit stylized. He doesn't have the hunch that a lot of figures have from them. You can hunch him, but he's got a little bit more of that upright opposite curve, the curving backwards thing, and I think that looks pretty cool. His suit is slightly metallic. That's pretty interesting looking. I like that. His hair is very metallic, which I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not a metallic hair kind of guy. I get why they do it. Hair is kind of shiny, and they do it to make it stand out and look more like hair. I think I just prefer standard paints, but you do get that. It is painted well. Same thing with the face. I think they did a really good job painting the face. And then the rest is pretty unpainted. I mean, it looks good enough, but he doesn't have a lot of shading or a lot of detail work going on. They didn't paint the buttons on the sleeves. They didn't paint the buttons on the vest. Things like that. It's not the most fancy figure that they've ever done. The shoes do look nice with that gloss. It's probably, I would say it's good enough. And if you get him in a cool pose, it's going to look really good. But if you don't, then you're not going to be thrilled by the finish on this guy. It's perfectly acceptable, but it's not a fancy finish. Like even the pants, there's no paintwork on there. It's just all one color. So yeah, it could look nicer is all I'm saying. But it does look good enough for a Revoltech figure, so I will give it an 8 out of 10 for the aesthetic. I don't have any real problems other than it could have more paint. Now, this guy really shines in the accessory department. We have a ton. First of all, we have two faces, the smiling face and then the open mouth smiling face. They have posable eyes, so that's pretty cool if you like that. You get a whole bunch of hands, all the hands you're going to need, really, so that's a pretty good thing. And then you get, let's start, okay, you get the ha 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 thing that goes behind him. That's pretty nice. It has like a little clip thing to do it. You can either use the stand or put it on his back, so that's all right. Then you get 2 Tommy guns. You get 2 revolvers, a 3rd revolver with the bang flag, which is done really nicely. You do get 2 muzzle flashes. Those are pretty well done. You get this weird little cowboy gun. No, I'm joking. That's a razor. It looks kind of like a gun. I thought I might be able to get a few of you for a second there, but you get the razor, which is pretty cool. You get 2 big old Bowie knives. Those are pretty cool. You get 2 sets of 3 knives for him to hold as just like a style accessory. That's pretty cool. You get 2 sets of 3 cards, and those are very nicely detailed. You get his crowbar bar, and you get his staff. And I think I've covered all of the accessories. And a display stand. That's a lot of accessories. I don't think you really need more. They didn't include a fish, though. I guess you could have gotten one of the fish. We've had a lot of smiling fish with Joker figures over the years, but that's a pretty dang good spread of accessories, and they're all really well executed. I like it a whole bunch. I'm going to say 9.9 out of 10 for accessories. They didn't give us the fish for that extra 0.1. All right, now for articulation, this is going to be the thing because Revoltech is all about articulation, and let's see if it works. Now, I have to say they did a pretty good job on this guy. The elbows are still pretty ugly, but they've hidden the shoulders for the most part, so it's not that bad. From the front, I don't like the way they cut the torso up straight across right there. It doesn't look the best when he's standing neutral. And the back is definitely very segmented. So there are certain downsides for sure, but for Revoltech, this is a fairly nice neutral standing figure. Most of the time you don't get that. All right, now for the actual range, the neck is ridiculously long, which works for Joker. I think that's fine. It's a stylized take for sure. He's got a small head and a long neck, but it is functional, and this piece moves around as well. So those ball pegs do go to work. You're going to have to try to make him look not really exaggerated, because you can really exaggerate it if you want to, but if you don't want to, he can look fairly normal. So be aware, it is definitely intended for stylized, fans of stylization, heavy stylization. These are just on a ball peg that connects to the bicep, then you have your standard Revoltech shoulder there, so you can get the arms up in lots of poses. It should work pretty well. It doesn't hide the joints perfectly, but it does. I mean, for the most part, it works. I don't hate it. I don't know that they could have done a whole lot better, so I'll take it. If you're in for Revoltech, this is what you're gonna get, and you do get the shoulder piece that moves. It doesn't. Either mine is stuck or they just did it differently. I don't know what's going on exactly. Normally, these pieces can either rotate or. Well, I guess it's always rotation, but it's at different points. And this one just doesn't really want to rotate, so I'm not sure what they have going on here exactly. It looks like it should just be rotating on this, but it's not. So yours may be stuck like mine. I don't know. I'm going to have to mess with that. It looks... Well, you know what? Let's mess with it now. Yeah, it should just be rotating on that ball, but I don't know why it's not doing it. Maybe it will now that I've popped it off. You know what? My Revoltech figures always end up with plastic inside them. It never tears out evenly. Nicely. All right, let's see. That's back in. There we go. Yes, so it does rotate. It's maybe not the best hidden one, but in some ways it is because the jacket works, but you can see in there and see some gaps in real life. Let's go ahead and just do this. All right. Yeah, so if yours is stuck, they pop off pretty easily and then they'll work just fine. So that'll be good. It's a bit of a nuisance, but it's not that big of a deal, so that's okay. Now for the torso, he does lean over really well. Gets a little funky looking back here, but you can kind of hide it. It's not the best. It is a Revoltech. You're going to have segmented chunks. It doesn't lean back as far as I would like. It's not bad at all, but I was expecting a little bit more. Side to side is all right as well. So yeah, his torso works nicely. You're going to have to constantly pull this piece down, but it works. It works. All right, for the hips, I think they did a little bit better than normal. Let's see. They do function a little bit more like traditional hips. You don't have to do too much rotating to get them to where you want them to go. So that works nicely. Basically full-on splits, no nuggets or anything. And then going forward, yeah, they work a little bit more traditionally. Not the best range there, unless you really, really get it up there. But even then, it's still not the best. Your thigh swivel is still angled. Why? I thought they weren't going to have that. The thigh swivel is still at a steep angle, so that's annoying. Especially since the hips work mostly traditionally, that's a little bit weird. Single jointed knee does work really well on this guy. Really good range, and it looks good. It looks a little bit less good when it's not bent, but when it's bent, it looks just about perfect. I am slowly being won over by single jointed knees, and I have to do some retinkering on the figures I'm working on. Because I'm thinking about it. I'm really thinking about it. How do you guys feel about single jointed knees? It doesn't have to be exactly like this, but I'm starting to like them more and more. And then for the ankles, we have a ball hinge, which has plenty of range. A little bit of gapping as usual, but lots of range in the ankle. And the toe hinge is a good one. That's a nice toe hinge. It's nice and smooth, it's well placed, and it's relatively functional. This is on just a little ball hinge, by the way. So yeah, it's not maybe the most articulated in terms of range, Revoltech figure that they've ever made, but it is Joker, and it looks pretty good. He probably doesn't need to be in the most dynamic of poses, but you should be able to get him in pretty good dynamic poses, and he should look decent doing it. That's not always the case with Revoltech, and I think they did a pretty good job here of balancing the two things, looking good and posing well enough for their brand. So his articulation, I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10 for posability. For range for a Revoltech, it's not the most, but it's certainly good enough. And now it's time for the final verdict. Is this a Joker to add to your collection? I think so, if you're okay with the trade-offs of Revoltech, like these. Did I not talk about the elbows? I didn't. I skipped the arms. How did I skip the arms? What did I get distracted? Oh, I got distracted by this. Okay, you know what? We're going to go back and do the arms, but I'll tell you, it's standard. So you get your bicep swivel up at the top, you get your single jointed elbow that's actually a double joint kind of, so you get really good range that way, and if you want it to look less bad, you get less range. Standard Revoltech type stuff, so it looks good like that, but you get 90, or you do that, and it's ugly, and you get more. And then the wrists are on little ball hinges, and these are floating pieces. So still, my rating doesn't change. Standard Revoltech arms. So back to what I was saying. If you're okay with the trade-offs, yeah, I think you're going to be all right with it. But if you are not a Revoltech fan, then just stay away. Don't buy any Revoltech figures except for maybe Thor or Spider-Man, or I guess Deadpool, or no, there's a bunch that are good. But if you don't like Revoltech, you just don't like Revoltech, and you won't enjoy them. I think this is a good balance, though. I'm going to give this guy an overall rating of, I'm going to say 9 out of 10. I think they did a good job. The accessories are really good. The articulation is good enough. And I think the look is good enough. It needs to have a little bit more going on. But those accessories are really nice, and he does pose well, and he's going to be fun on the shelf. I think people are going to like this, even if they're not huge Revoltech fans. As long as you're not totally against them, I think this might be a fun one. I'm enjoying it, and I'm not the biggest Revoltech fan. So, I don't know. I'm curious how you guys feel about it, but I'm going to leave it at that. I think it's good. I think it's good. So, there it is. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.